What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to a brand new video on the channel. I'm Al the Anomaly, and today I think we'll be discussing a video that everyone might enjoy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. Now, today I will be giving my input on a show known as Tokyo Revengers, of course, as the title suggests. It's probably one of the best shonen to come out in recent years, in my opinion. I'm not going to take my opinion as the generalization for everyone's own opinion, but in my opinion, it's pretty damn good. I mean, if you outsell a Shonen Jump title like Jujutsu Kaisen, then I think you're doing pretty good. And Jujutsu Kaisen, I can't even say the word right. Jujutsu Kaisen is such a popular show. I'm normally surprised when something beats it out in terms of ratings or viewership or sales. But I digress. It's not about Jujutsu Kaisen. That's a video for another time. We'll be talking about Tokyo Revengers today. And Tokyo Revengers, my god, is a fucking amazing show. The best part about the show is that it keeps me on the edge of my seat. Not gonna lie. Most episodes, you don't really know what's going to happen or how it's going to happen. Things kind of just happen. And the whole regard of Takemichi jumping back and forth, like, it's very interesting, but I'm gonna hold that point for later. But if you don't know what Tokyo Revengers is, I'm going to give you a quick rundown. Takemichi Hanagaki, a 26-year-old feeder, learns one day that his middle school ex-girlfriend Hinata Tachibana, as well as her younger brother Naoto, have been killed by the Tokyo Manji gang. When Takemichi is pushed in front of a train, he teleports exactly 12 years into the past to 2005. While reliving his middle school years, Takemichi meets Naoto and divulges the exact date he and Hinata will die. When they shake hands, Takemichi is suddenly transported back to the present, creating a time paradox where Naoto survives and is now a detective. Naoto deduces that every time they hold hands, Takemichi is transported 12 years into the past. Using his knowledge from the future, Takemichi vows to save Hinata. And that's basically what the show is about. And from there, it blooms, it blossoms into something greater. As it goes from there, you'll think that, oh, this guy's doing stupid shit for one girl. It grows far beyond that, and it's not so black and white when you first get into it. For those of you who watch the show and probably who also have read the manga, I won't say this is a spoiler, but consider slight. I'm hoping that if you're watching this video right now, you have seen the show, but I know those who do watch it believe or also thinks that someone may be operating behind the scenes, which is pretty intense. Because in this situation, you would think that, well, given the situation and the circumstances, you would think that Takemichi is the one only person who can do this. But there's a certain someone that we know who might also, or it could be my theory, and pardon me, it could be my theory and a friend's theory that there's a certain someone also being able to do what Takemichi is doing. But other than that, we all love these two main characters. They're not the main characters. Takemichi, sadly, the main character, but he grows on me a bit. But we know these two characters specifically, people love. Mikey the leader, Draken the number 2, and from there, I mean, you can place the other cool characters next to them, but we know that they're like the top 2. I would say third is Baji, because Baji was like the toughest, like hand to hand. And my man took out he took out so many people during that one scene. But I think the show is something anime has needed in terms of shonen. It's a bit of a refresher on the shonen landscape. We're used to the main character going out there like all fucking hands, no fucks given, my will against yours. We always seen anime and love anime that have those type of circumstances. Tokyo Revengers flips that on its head, giving the fact that Takemichi, I won't say he's a bitch, but he's a bit of a bitch. I would use the term pussy, but I'm gonna go with the term bitch. But he's a bit of a bitch. In those moments when he needs to make a critical decision, he sits there and just like inner monologues way too fucking much. Like, pay attention. Other than that, my man needs some boxing skills, because for the first 20 episodes, I'm not gonna say first 20, because I forgot about the situation with Kiyomasa, that's his name. He showed balls and he showed a bit of grappling finesse. I applaud him for the rear naked choke because me and this one friend, we always make the specific joke that no matter what, a rear naked choke will work on almost anybody. We don't care how strong you are, a rear naked choke and you're just done. The one episode of Dragon Ball Super when Goku and Toppo had that exhibition match. What did Toppo do to Goku? Rear naked choke. Goku didn't like that. Goku doesn't like being choked. But I give Takemichi the rear naked choke in his corner. But other than that, he can't fight. He really can't. He showed some balls finally in the Bloody Halloween episode, or I'm gonna say episodes. He showed some balls, but it took so much for him to stand up and just start fighting. I'm happy he finally did it because I was probably one of the few people that was really proud of him in that moment. Like, finally, you punched some fucking body and knocked this nigga's teeth out, and he started fighting. So I'll give him his kudos where it's done. Other than that, basically everyone else in the gang can fight. His friends are questionable too. Like, his friends get the respect for being friends that hopped in there to save him when it was most needed. And that was also back during the Kiyomasa situation when he stabbed Draken. They showed up and they showed out. But his friends get the respect. Now, I want to know who else possibly does Kisaki have in his pocket. And for those of you who don't know, he's virtually the main bad guy. We also like to talk about the two badasses, Mikey and Draken, of course. Most of Toman has badasses. Like, most of them are badasses. Like, or most of the leaders are badasses. But Mikey and Draken are like the dynamic fucking duo. And two of my new favorite characters in the anime. Let's say if I was to make a list of, like, I don't know, top 20, they'll probably be in my top 20. Maybe. That could be a stretch because there's a lot of shows out there that I really like. But for, let's say, out of my newer generation of anime, they fuck shit up on a daily basis. Possibly the two strongest characters in the show, other than like the adult characters who are really, really dangerous and crazy. I don't know how long the manga is itself, so I don't know how long or how far it goes. But yeah, I think those two are probably the two best at it. Hanma from Valhalla. Hanma's crazy. I like his tattoos too on his hands, but Hanma's he's a crazy bastard, and I think he may be up there too. Again, I don't know, but this is from what I've watched. From what they've shown us, I think they're like some of the strongest. Rest in peace, Baji. You definitely were up there too. Baji was one of the heavy hitters, and I'm like so mad that episode went that way. It just kind of left a big hole in everyone's like chest after he done what he done. But he had his reasons for it. Kazutora's crazy ass. Kazutora was pretty much not able to come to terms with his own decisions until all that happened at the Bloody Halloween. But Kazutora, I'm happy that Mikey's forgiven him, and I want to see where he's gonna fit in with the future now that he didn't get killed. So how does that change things? And I think that's one of the biggest questions that's going to be asked in the next episode or the following. I really hope we get to see what happens with him. And also one other thing, Takemichi's two friends haven't been shown in the future, so I don't know what happened to them too. I could be missing one. I believe it's either 4 of them or like 5 of them. I want to know what happens to them. They don't get seen or talked about in the future other than Aqua, who's more involved with the gang situation. And I wonder if anything changes with Draken in his jail situation, because he was on death row for killing people for Kisaki. And I don't know what that's going to end up doing or how it's going to affect him. Mikey, we also haven't seen a future Mikey yet, so as I said, he's doing whatever. And I don't know how any of what happened at the Bloody Halloween is going to change the future. We still have to wait for that episode. But as far as like shows that are really making an impact and really doing amazing things anime-wise, I would say Tokyo Revengers is definitely that show. And if you haven't watched this yet, I highly recommend it to you. Like, just because it's a shonen anime, but it's not your typical shonen. No one's going to yell to power up. No one's going to be magically stronger based off of genetic blessings or random blessings of gods. None of it happens. It's just a shonen jump. Well, I said shonen jump. It's just a shonen spin to the butterfly effect, and it's done beautifully for what it is so far. I don't think there's too many bad reviews or too many bad things you could say about the show. Maybe you could say it's pacing. Maybe you can say it's the main character for being a bitch. Maybe you can say it needs a little bit more women. Who knows? I'm not watching it for the women. There's plenty of shows to watch if you want some ecchi. There's plenty of ecchi shows out there. But this is definitely one of the more story-driven animes that have come out. And It's one of the most story-driven shonens I've ever seen. Because boy, is it shonen. It's surprising because I didn't think an anime about delinquency coming back in 2021 would be anything that anyone would watch. But it's actually pretty dope. If for those of you who watched Yu Yu Hakusho, they were he was a delinquent. Him and Kuwabara, they're delinquents. So their outfits, the baggy pants. That's just the thing that Japanese delinquents do, is wear baggy clothes and dye their hair. It's the rebel against their society. But we know the show is lightly based off of the creator's life. The Tokyo Majin gang is like the gang he was in. So there's some interesting things about this show. I want to see more of Tomen's head captains. Now I'm talking about Bleach. I want to see more of Tomen's captains and division leaders. I want to see more of them in action and no more bit about them. I'm gonna be seeing glimpses of them in combat in action. I want to see them on the outside of gang fights, just a little bit more. That's for my personal wants, I would say. There's a lot of things I want from the show, but I'm not going to get what I want. I'm just going to get what I hope comes to me in like an executed story fashion. This is one of the few good anime of 2021. There's a lot of shows that came out this year so far, and I'd say maybe I'm lowballing it. Maybe there's a little bit more than 10 anime out this year that I can like really hook onto. I don't so much venture into watching too many new anime because one thing that floods the market more nowadays is isekai, and there's tons of fucking isekai. I'm kind of sick of isekai. At first I thought this was going to be an isekai until he started hopping back and forth, and then I was thinking you can't really consider an isekai. And if anything, the one isekai this year I really recommend, I'm going to eventually do a video on, is Mushoku Tensei, or also known as Jobless Reincarnation. It's known as the grandfather of isekai, and it's so beautiful. They literally created an anime studio specifically for the show, so that's the only show that the studio is working on. I'll make a video on that, but I highly recommend this show for people to watch. Get your friends on it. If someone says they don't like anime because of all the good guy doing this and that, watch Tokyo Revengers. It's definitely a break away from your normal shonen anime. It's definitely has its own flair. And it's surprising that something not as actiony can keep up with mainstream shows. I would say the show's mainstream now, possibly, but it all depends if it goes on Adult Swim or something like that. I wonder how everything's going to work out. I don't want to spoil the show for myself, so I don't want to read the manga. I just want to know how everything happens. I can't wait to see how it all turns out. It's been a minute since I've had so much emotion towards the show, like happiness, sadness, and just laughter, anxiety, because the show makes me fucking anxious. Like when there's moments that have you on the edge of your seat, it just gets to you and you're just like, oh my god, what's gonna happen? But it's really good to feel invested in a show like this again. Like it's rare when, I'm not gonna say it's rare, but alright, let's say this: it's rare when it's live action shows that's making me feel the way I do about some animes nowadays. Because I personally find more anime exciting. There's nothing wrong with live action shows. It's just that when you mess up and speed things up, you kind of ruin the flair and taste of the show. But there's plenty of anime that is guilty of being wrapped up super fast. I'm not going to argue that one. But I feel if they give this time, and if they take their time with Tokyo Revengers, it's going to be one of those, or one of the most memorable animes ever. It's really good, and it has people hooked. I can't even say it doesn't have people hooked. A lot of people are hooked. A couple of people, or maybe it's more than a couple, but I've known a couple of people to say that it was a little bit slower. But then hop back onto it and just check it out now. And a lot of people seem to have good perception towards it. But I don't know. Tell me what you guys think. Do you think it's going to be one of the best anime of the year? Is it one of your favorite anime to watch now? Have you dropped it, and do you feel like picking it back up? 'Cause I don't know. I personally couldn't drop a show that had me like really feeling it, or just really intense for watching certain scenes. But this is definitely one of the shows I would recommend to anyone to watch, just out of pure story and pure characters. Like the characters were one of the main selling points for the story. Surprisingly, women really like it. I'm not going to say I like the guys, but no, they're cool characters and they have very great development and whatnot. But no, I don't. No. But please let me know what you think about the show. Is it one of your favorites? Do you think you'll revisit it if you drop it? Do you want to continue it? Would you like a movie, not a live action movie, but would you like a movie just for like I don't know, a backstory type of situation? It's a really great show, and I really love it. I can't wait for this weekend's episode to pop up. I just want to jump more. I can't even speak right now. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share this video. I thank you all again for tuning in, and I will see you all in the next one.